Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulihil kareem. We greet you on this, the 14th day of the month of Ramadan, with Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and with the greeting that I learned in Egypt, Ramadan Kareem. And I was mentioning to you in my previous video that I'll be traveling. I've just returned from my visit to Moscow, and that conference in Moscow was very, very, very important. And when we have the program on the 24th in Ilford in London, I'm going to argue that one of the reasons why Russia was attacked with a massive terrorist attack, one of the reasons was that conference, in my opinion. But that's not the subject of today's talk. I plan to travel for a year or more. Alhamdulillah, Allah bless me, I have 2 wives now. So one wife will travel for some time, another wife will travel for some time. And for some time I may have to travel by myself alone, inshallah. So after the conference in Moscow, I plan to visit Morocco for the first time, because my second wife is Moroccan. And I will go to the city of Fez, where we have my student Samir, and the Islamic, the Center for Islamic Eschatology in Fez. I also will go to Meknes, where my wife's family lives, and I also go to the city by the sea, facing the Mediterranean Ocean, called Saida, where I have a very dear friend. I need to visit him there. So this is going to be my first time in Morocco. There will be no public lectures in Morocco, but I'm looking forward to meeting my students there. And then I'll return to Britain briefly before I start my journey to Malaysia, to Kuala Lumpur. It's been several years now I have not been to Malaysia. So I'll spend the whole of June and the whole of July in Malaysia, most of my time in Kuala Lumpur, in Malaysia. And this is to ask you if you would like me to come and speak at your masjid, or you want to organize a lecture in a hall during the months of June and July. If you want to organize a university lecture or a lecture in a college or anything, I have a team in Malaysia who will be organizing my program. Do please send me an email. You'll find my email address at the bottom of the screen, so I can pass it on to the team who is organizing my program of lectures in Malaysia in the months of June and July. I will also travel to Penang, I'll travel to Johor Bahru and to other places in Malaysia, but most of the time will be in Kuala Lumpur. At the end of July, my plan is to go over to Indonesia for 2 weeks. My dear friend Sheikh Abdul Aziz is in Jember, in the southeast of Java. And I've been there once or twice already. So I won't be able to spend more than 2 weeks in Indonesia this time. I won't be able to visit Yogyakarta. I won't be able to visit Bandung. I probably will only be able to spend a little time in Jakarta and Semarang and so on. But most of the time will be in Jember, where Sheikh Abdul Aziz lives. And then I'll return to Britain and then take a trip to Italy. We have important connections in Italy, and my book, Jerusalem in the Quran and Constantinople in the Quran, have been translated to Italian, and we're going to look for a publisher and get them published in Italian in Italy, inshallah. At the end of August, I will travel to Russia, to Moscow, for 3 weeks. I plan to lecture in Moscow on 2 subjects. Number 1, the Quran and Russia's destiny. I'm preparing that document for the Russian foreign minister. I don't know whether he'll read it or not, but it's done at his request. But I'm building it up also to be a book, a very important book. And I'll explain to you on the 25th, 24th in Kelso, that lecture, why that book is so important and the role it's supposed to play in Russia. The name of the book is The Quran and Russia's Destiny, and I'm working on it now, and I hope and I pray I can finish it before the end of August, so I can take with me to Moscow, and then we can look for a publisher in Moscow to publish that book in Russian, not only for the Russian people, but more importantly, vastly more importantly, for that book to reach the large Muslim community in Russia, which has been largely brainwashed by the Ottoman Empire. They need to be re-educated, and that book, I hope, will do that job. And then I'll go on to Armenia. In the last week of September, my team in Armenia is headed by an Armenian Christian, yes, a very dear brother of mine. And we are organizing a Muslim-Christian conference in Armenia in the last week of September. It's going to be a small gathering. This is the initial effort to bring Muslim scholars and bring Christian scholars together to forge friendship and alliance between our two communities. And then a surprise at the end of September when I fly back to Morocco to return to Egypt. I went to Egypt in 1963 and spent 1 year, enjoyed that 1 year as a student at Azhar. And then I left Egypt and went to Pakistan. I never returned to Egypt for something like 23 years, until 1987 when there was an Islamic conference in Cairo on Islamic education. And I was invited to that conference. And I stayed in a hotel just next to the River Nile. And now after another 25 years or so, I'm returning to Cairo, inshallah, in October of 2024. So if you're in Egypt, and I doubt we have any public lectures in Egypt, but I'll be very happy to meet my students in Egypt, and I have students in Egypt, and I'll post a video on YouTube telling you how you can make contact with me, inshallah, in Cairo. I don't think we'll be able to spend, my wife and I, much time going out of Cairo. Maybe a trip to Alexandria, Iskandaria, or Port Said, Ismailia. But I'm looking forward, I'm looking forward to returning to Egypt after so many years and eating the Egyptian food. I loved it so much. After that, there's still much travel, but I'll need to rest for a while. I would like to spend the whole month of January 2025 in Cape Town. That's the most beautiful time of the year to be in Cape Town. I spend January, February, and March, 3 months in South Africa. I also have to visit Senegal, I have to visit Mauritius, and I want to make a visit to Australia as well. I've not been to Australia since 2002. This is a brief mentioning of the travel plan. There are those who have been helping me with travel expenses, but I'll need more help and support with travel expenses. So please remember me in your du'as, that Allah might bless this travel with success. Thank you. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.